Welcome to Daily Crypto Episode 4. You flagged some really interesting developments in the crypto market for us today.
Yeah, quite a bit happening.
So our deep dive is all about making sense of that latest news. We want to pull out the key information so you feel informed, up to speed without getting totally lost in the weeds.
Absolutely. It's crucial to understand not just the headlines, but, well, what they might actually mean for the crypto space overall.
Exactly. So we'll start with where the big coins are trading and then dig into some of the stories making the biggest impact right now. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan. Let's get that initial market snapshot first, just to orient ourselves.
Okay, so if we look at some of the main cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin.
Yep.
It's currently around $82,525, showing a slight increase. Ethereum is at about $1,783.64, also up a little. BNB is at $589.71, and that one's seen a more noticeable climb.
Right.
Solana is trading at $116.58 with a solid increase, and XRP, wow, it's jumped quite a bit to $2.10. What catches your eye with these initial movements?
Well, what's interesting, I think, is that while the major players like Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing positive momentum, some of the others, particularly that XRP you mentioned, are exhibiting like stronger upward movement.
Right, much stronger.
This kind of divergence can sometimes indicate specific news or, sentiment driving interest in those particular assets.
Makes sense.
For you, if you're holding any of these, it's just a good reminder that the market isn't monolithic. Different factors can influence different cryptocurrencies.
That's a really good point. And then we've got the meme coin sector, which always seems to have its own pulse, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Always interesting.
Shiba Inu is at, let's see, 0.0000122, up slightly. Pepe is at 0.0000007, it's showing a pretty significant surge.
Yeah, Pepe's betting.
Bonk is at 0.000000111, also with a considerable rise. Dog with Hat is at 0.372886 with a good increase. And Popcat, 0.15952, showing a substantial gain. It's a vivid illustration of the volatility we often see there.
Indeed. I mean, these kinds of rapid increases in meme coin prices can be quite captivating, right?
Sure.
But it's really vital to remember the underlying nature of these assets. Their value is often driven more by social trends and, community buzz than by fundamental tech or utility.
Yeah, hype cycles.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
for you, if you're considering this space, the potential for large gains definitely comes with an equally significant risk of sharp declines. High risk, high reward, potentially.
Always the case there. Okay, so here's where we start to connect some of these price movements to the news that's been circulating.
Right.
One interesting development is the strong performance of Radium in meme coin trading volume during the first quarter.
Big player there.
But there's also a potential competitor on the rise, Pump.Fun, another decentralized exchange. Now, for someone who might not be super familiar, a decentralized exchange is basically a platform for trading without a traditional middleman, right?
This is the core idea, yeah.
It sounds like real competition heating up in the decentralized finance world, DeFi.
That's a key point. Decentralized finance, or DeFi, it's all about recreating traditional financial services, but in a more open, distributed way using blockchain technology.
Right.
Radium has been a prominent player, especially on Solana, for these kinds of trades. The emergence of Pump Fund suggests that innovation in this space is just rapid.
It really is.
And different platforms are vying for users by offering potentially different features or maybe appealing to specific trading preferences. For you, this competition, well, it could lead to more options and potentially lower fees down the road.
Good for the user.
Yeah, but it also means keeping an eye on which platforms are gaining traction and, importantly, why.
Got it. Okay, another piece of news that stood out is that reports from Binance indicate traders are holding on to their Bitcoin. HODing, as they say, even with some of the recent market ups and downs.
Yeah.
This feels like it could signal a strong underlying belief in Bitcoin's long-term prospects, maybe.
That's a really insightful point. In times of market uncertainty, we often see investors move towards what they perceive as, safer assets.
True.
The fact that traders are choosing to hold on to their Bitcoin rather than selling off could suggest a level of confidence in its ability to maintain or increase its value over time.
Like a digital store of value idea.
Exactly. For you, this might reinforce the idea that Bitcoin is seen by many as like a core holding in the crypto space,
Yeah.
even amidst volatility elsewhere.
Okay. On a slightly different note, there's an advisory from Nansen urging caution. They're pointing to potential impacts from Trump's tariffs and just broader market
Of
anxieties.
the macro picture.
Yeah, this brings in the bigger picture of global economics, which can definitely have a knock-on effect on the crypto market.
Absolutely. The crypto market doesn't operate in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
Macroeconomic factors like trade policies, tariffs, and just general economic sentiment.
Yeah,
They influence investor behavior across all asset classes,
including crypto.
including crypto. If there are concerns about global economic growth or increased trade tensions, that can sometimes lead to a more risk-averse approach overall. That could potentially impact even cryptocurrencies. For you, it's just a reminder that keeping an eye on broader economic trends can provide really valuable context for understanding crypto market movements.
Good advice. Now let's shift to the regulatory landscape. This is always moving. The U.S. House Financial Services Committee has passed Tom Emmer's anti-CBDC bill.
Oh, interesting.
For those who aren't following super closely, a CBDC is a central bank digital currency, basically a digital dollar in the U.S. case, issued by the Fed.
Yep.
This bill represents a move to push back against the development of such a currency in the U.S., at least in its current proposed form.
That's a significant development in the ongoing conversation around the future of money.
Definitely.
This bill reflects concerns held by some concerns about potential government overreach, surveillance maybe, that could come with a central bank controlling a digital currency.
Yeah, those are the arguments.
Its passage through this committee stage indicates growing political debate on this issue. It could have long-term implications for how digital currencies are regulated in the United States.
Big implications.
For you, this just highlights the active role that governments are playing in shaping the future of the financial system and the potential for new regulations to impact the crypto space, for better or worse.
Absolutely. But turning back to tech advancements, Ethereum developers are aiming to launch the Pectra upgrade on the mainnet around May 7th. The mainnet being the primary public blockchain for Ethereum.
Right, the live network.
These upgrades are always something the crypto community watches really closely because they can bring significant improvements to how the network operates.
Exactly. The Pectra upgrade is expected to include several Ethereum improvement proposals, or EIPs as they're
Oh,
called.
EIPs, right.
These are essentially proposals for new features or changes to the Ethereum network. This particular upgrade is anticipated to enhance things like the network's ability to handle more transactions,
Right.
scalability, and become more efficient overall.
So important stuff.
Very important. For you, successful upgrades like this are generally a positive sign of the ongoing development and improvement of the underlying technology. That can contribute to the long-term value and usability of Ethereum.
Okay. Now here's a statistic that definitely makes you sit up and take notice. Reports indicate a 2,000% increase in crypto-related crimes in Scotland since 2019.
Wow, 2,000%. That's, yeah.
It really underscores the importance of being vigilant and aware of security risks in the crypto space.
That is a concerning figure. And it's a stark reminder that as the adoption of cryptocurrencies grows, so unfortunately does the incentive for illicit activities, scams, fraud.
The dark side.
Yeah. This huge increase highlights the ongoing need for robust security measures, increased public awareness about scams, and, importantly, effective collaboration between law enforcement and the crypto industry to combat these crimes. For you, this just emphasizes the importance of using secure platforms, being super cautious of unsolicited offers, and really understanding the risks involved in transacting with digital assets. Not your keys, not your crypto, it's just one part of it.
Very true. In other news that could potentially ripple through the market, Justin Sun is reportedly taking legal action against First Digital Trust. They're the issuer of the stablecoin FDUSD.
Yes.
He's alleging a substantial embezzlement. Now, for those unfamiliar, a stablecoin is a crypto designed to have a relatively stable value, often pegged to something like the US dollar.
Right, like a digital dollar placeholder.
Exactly. Allegations like this against a stablecoin issuer can definitely cause some unease, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. That's a significant development, particularly because stablecoins play such a crucial role in the crypto trading ecosystem.
They really do.
They provide liquidity, a stable asset for traders to move in and out of volatile cryptos. If there are questions raised about the security or management of a major stablecoin like FDUSD, it can erode trust and potentially lead to instability across the broader market.
Yeah, contagion risk.
Exactly. For you, this underscores the importance of understanding the entities behind the stablecoins you might be using and keeping an eye on any news that could impact their stability or their peg.
Good point. We also saw that the NASDAQ composite, a major stock market index, experienced a significant drop recently. This sparks the ongoing question of how correlated Bitcoin and the broader crypto market are with traditional financial markets. Can Bitcoin really act as a hedge against traditional market volatility, or does it just follow along?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's been debated for ages, and events like this NASDAQ drop often bring it right back into focus.
Always.
While the initial argument for Bitcoin was its potential to be this decentralized asset uncorrelated with traditional markets.
The digital gold idea again.
Right. But we've definitely seen instances where significant movements in one market seem to influence the other, sometimes strongly. The extent of this correlation is still, well, it's still being determined, and it seems to change over time.
It does seem fluid.
It is, and it's something for you to consider as you think about how crypto fits into a broader investment strategy. Is it a diversifier, or is it just more correlated risk?
Something to watch. Okay, on the innovation front, Datagram is reportedly unveiling a decentralized backend. It's designed for scalable DEPIN networks. Now, DEPIN stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks.
Right, DEPIN. Getting a lot of buzz.
Think of projects using blockchain to manage and operate real-world infrastructure, like wireless networks, energy grids, that kind of thing. This sounds like an exciting step forward in that sector.
It is. DEPIN projects have the potential to, well, maybe revolutionize how we build and manage physical infrastructure by leveraging the transparency and efficiency of blockchain tech.
Huge potential there.
Datagram's development of a scalable backend is a crucial step towards making these networks more viable, more widespread. For you, this represents a growing area of innovation within the Web3 space that actually extends beyond just finance.
Right, real-world applications.
Yeah, could have tangible impacts on various industries. Definitely one to watch.
Okay, in some maybe unexpected news, the Trump family is reportedly getting involved in Bitcoin mining. BSTR miner and NR7 miner were mentioned in connection with cloud mining.
Huh, interesting.
This could definitely bring more mainstream attention and potentially investment into the Bitcoin mining industry in the U.S.
The involvement of prominent figures, yeah, it can often bring increased visibility to an industry. Bitcoin mining, the process of verifying transactions and adding them to the blockchain, is fundamental to the network.
The backbone.
Pretty much. The entry of well-known names could lead to greater public awareness and potentially attract more investment into this sector within the United States.
It could be significant.
For you, this could signal, maybe, a growing mainstream acceptance, or at least interest in Bitcoin and its underlying infrastructure.
We'll see how that plays out. It also looks like Coinbase is exploring the possibility of launching XRP futures, and they've reportedly filed an application with the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission in the U.S.
Okay, futures for XRP on Coinbase. That's notable.
This could provide more trading options and potentially increase the liquidity for XRP, right?
That's a significant step for XRP, yeah.
Mm.
The potential listing of futures contracts on a major regulated exchange like Coinbase could make it more accessible, especially to institutional investors.
Right, the big players.
And it provides more sophisticated tools for managing risk and speculating on its price. Increased liquidity generally makes it easier to buy and sell an asset without causing huge price swings.
Tighter spreads.
Potentially, yeah. For you, this could mean more opportunities to trade XRP and maybe tighter spreads between buying and selling prices if it goes through.
Okay. We also saw reports that crypto markets reacted negatively to something called Liberation Day tariffs, although the specifics of these tariffs weren't detailed in the info we have.
Liberation Day tariffs? Vague.
Yeah, sounds like geopolitical events continue to cast a shadow over the market, even if the details are murky.
Any mention of new tariffs, especially tied to specific geopolitical events, can just introduce uncertainty and potentially negative sentiment into the market.
Fear and uncertainty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without more details on what these Liberation Day tariffs actually entail and which assets or regions they might affect, it's really difficult to say definitively what the impact will be. But generally, increased trade barriers are viewed negatively by investors.
Usually not good news.
For you, it just highlights again that interconnectedness of global events and the crypto market. Things happening continents away can ripple through.
Definitely. On the regulatory front, again, it appears that BitGet, the exchange, has secured full licensing in El Salvador for crypto services.
El Salvador.
This marks another step towards greater regulatory clarity and adoption in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, El Salvador's decision to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender made it a focal point for regulatory developments in crypto, didn't it?
Absolutely.
BitGet obtaining full licensing there signifies a growing formalization and acceptance of cryptocurrency businesses within that country at least.
A specific regional development.
Right. For you, this just demonstrates the varying approaches that different nations are taking towards regulating digital assets. It's not a uniform picture globally.
Not at all. Mantle, it seems, is preparing for some significant ecosystem updates in the second quarter of this year, and that could potentially influence the price of their token, MNT.
Right. Mantle. Ecosystem updates are often key drivers of growth and value for blockchain platforms and their native tokens.
Makes sense. New features, more utility.
Exactly. If Mantle's upcoming updates introduce new functionalities, attract more users or developers, or improve the overall performance of the network, it could indeed have a positive impact on the price of MNT.
So something to watch for MNT holders.
Yeah, for you, if you're holding or considering MNT, keeping an eye on these updates and how the community reacts to them will be important.
Okay. There's also the ongoing discussion about whether an altcoin season might be approaching. You always hear analysts weighing in on this.
Yeah. Alt season. The perennial hope or fear, depending on your portfolio.
Right. It's a perennial topic of debate in the crypto world.
The whole idea of an altcoin season, where cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin experience, significant price appreciation, it's driven by a complex mix of things: market sentiment, tech advancements in specific projects.
Money flowing down from Bitcoin sometimes.
That's often part of the theory, yeah. Investors looking for higher growth potential outside of Bitcoin. Analyst opinions on this, they vary wildly, and predicting such a season is notoriously difficult.
Very difficult.
For you, understanding the factors that can contribute to altcoin rallies can be helpful, but it's also crucial to do your own research and manage risk carefully. Don't just chase pumps.
Sound advice. In news from the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, the chair, is set to step down by 2027. And people are starting to reflect on his legacy in the context of the crypto space.
Yeah, the WEF and Schwab, they've increasingly engaged with the topic of blockchain and digital currencies, acknowledging both the potential benefits and, the associated risks and challenges.
They've definitely been part of the conversation.
His eventual departure will likely prompt further discussion about the organization's future role and perspective on the evolving crypto industry, how they engage with it going forward.
Interesting to see who takes over and what their stance is.
Yeah. For you, it's just a reminder that these big global institutions like the WEF are paying attention to and, frankly, shaping the narrative around digital assets.
Good point. We also noted that a significant amount of newly unstaked Solana has been deposited to major exchanges.
Ah, the SOL unlock.
Yeah. When tokens that were locked up for staking become available and are moved to exchanges, it can sometimes have an impact on the market, can't it?
That's right. When a large quantity of previously staked Solana tokens becomes liquid again and gets moved onto exchanges, it increases the available supply for trading. Simple supply and demand.
So potential selling pressure.
It can sometimes lead to downward pressure on the price, yes, although the actual impact really depends on the intentions of those who unstake the tokens. Are they planning to sell immediately, or do they have other reasons for moving them? We don't always know.
True, could be moving to a different wallet or DeFi.
Exactly. But for you, significant movements like this in staked assets are worth noting as potential indicators of short-term price volatility, at least.
Okay. And finally, a Swiss crypto bank is offering an interesting perspective. They're suggesting that Bitcoin is increasingly seen more as a proxy for the broader crypto market rather than purely as digital gold.
That is an interesting take.
Yeah, it's subtle, but potentially quite important shift in how Bitcoin is perceived.
That's a really insightful observation. The whole digital gold narrative positions Bitcoin primarily as a store of value, right? Similar to actual gold, offering a hedge against inflation, economic uncertainty.
That's the classic bull case.
Right. But viewing it as a crypto market proxy suggests that its price movements are more closely tied to the overall sentiment and trends within the wider cryptocurrency market, including altcoins, DeFi, NFTs, everything, rather than solely reflecting its own intrinsic store of value properties.
So less of a standalone asset, more of an index for the whole space.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh.
Or at least heavily influenced by the rest of the space. For you, this evolving perception could influence how you assess Bitcoin's role in your portfolio and its potential correlation with other digital assets. Is it your safe haven, or is it just the bellwether for the whole volatile sector?
Really interesting thought. So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. Looked at price movements, a wide range of news shaping the crypto landscape.
Absolutely. And what becomes really clear, I think, is just how dynamic and interconnected this market is.
Definitely.
Everything from Technological upgrades like Pectra, the excitement around new meme coins, to major regulatory developments and global economic factors,
Hmm.
it can all play a role in influencing prices and the overall sentiment.
You've now got a snapshot, hopefully a useful one, of some of the key movements and stories in the crypto world right now. We've seen those price fluctuations across major coins and meme coins, alongside significant news ranging from regulation to tech to, well, even potential geopolitical impacts.
Yeah, this rapid overview really highlights just how dynamic and interconnected the cryptocurrency market is. We've touched on price actions, regulatory news, technological advancements, and yeah, even some potential risks like crime and stablecoin issues.
It's a lot to keep track of. For more real-time market information and deeper dives into these and other developing stories, join Daily Crypto.